Welcome to Authenticity Unleashed. I'm your host, Pam Rader, and we're going to talk today about all things procrastination and why procrastination is killing us and what we can do about it. So, I don't know about you, but I have tasks that I don't love to do that I sometimes put off. And I'll often say things like, you know what, I worked really hard today, or I'm stressed out and I don't want to deal with that. But what I've been noticing is that when I put those things off, now they're taking up space in the back of my mind rent free. And there's this low grade kind of underlying anxiety that's occurring. And it's also robbing me of being present in the tasks that I am doing because I have this underlying worry. So now by procrastinating, have caused my own stress. I'm really great at what's known as creative avoidance, meaning that I can look really busy and vacuum my house every day and maybe be cooking or doing something that I like to do and leaving tasks that I know would move the needle forward in my business, in my life, in my relationships. And so I've been really taking a deep dive into why we procrastinate and what we can do about it. Now, I'll preface this by saying I have some really great habits. I never procrastinate exercising, journaling, my spiritual study. I have a lot of great habits, and yet there are still places I don't love to pay bills. I don't love to do payroll for my company or even to create social media. I tend to procrastinate the things that I am not so fond of. And I thought, there's got to be a way, a mindset hack, something that we can do that will shift how I look at those tasks. And I came across some really interesting information, and I'm so happy to share it with you today. So, first off, it's been said forever, and we get it intellectually, but I don't think we really realize the value of this simple statement. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, do the thing and get the power. Do the thing and get the power. He didn't say think about the thing, put the thing off until you feel like doing it, get someone else to do the thing. There's great wisdom in that statement. When we do the thing, we get the power. Now let's talk about what we get. Like when we do the thing, what is the power that we get? So, number one, we get a sense of accomplishment and a dopamine hit. The brain loves to check off tasks. So that feels good. We change our state. Number two, when we do something that we don't want to do, there is a part of our brain known as the anterior cingulate medial cortex that is thought to be the seat of will that gets strengthened and makes it more likely that we will be able to do things that we don't want to do. It's like building a muscle. The next piece of the power that we get, besides willpower, some feel good chemicals, is we start to build self-confidence. And confidence is powerful. Confidence is our knowledge that we can execute a task or a skill. And the list continues. When we do the thing, we get dopamine, we get confidence, we get the power of peace in our minds, but more so in tackling things that are difficult for us, we often gain new skills that unlock the next level of our lives. And if we don't take on those tasks, we're actually limiting ourselves, limiting our ability to grow into the next version of ourselves, the level of person that we need to be to have the things that we want to have. Because consider this. If the version of you now knew how to have the life that you really desire, you would already have it. You would already have it. But when we put off doing tasks, we argue for our limitations, and the prize is that we get to keep them. Now, there's another power that is accrued in doing the thing. Just saying we're going to do the thing, doing the thing, and it's called integrity. And when we have integrity, my words and my actions match. Not only does that make my life more workable, I have self-trust and self-worth, but other people trust me. If I'm continually saying I'm going to do this thing and I don't do it, other people don't trust me, and therefore my relationships aren't workable. So when Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Do the thing and get the power," it's simple and it's so deep and so vast. There is just so much to gain from developing a habit of doing things as they arise instead of procrastinating. Now, procrastinating is poison. It's poison on so many levels. As I said, stress is a massive effect. Stress is one of the biggest impacts that procrastination has on us. And we know that stress is the cause of dis-ease and eventually disease. Let's look at it like this. We know we should go to the gym or get some exercise or work out, move our bodies, eat well, and we keep putting it off for another day. Not only do we have the mental stress of that, but the body, the physical body is suffering. And in 10 years of a pattern like that, it might be too late to undo a lot of that. Whereas if we just said, you know what, instead of watching Netflix, I could get up and go for a 30-minute walk and then sit down. Now I've alleviated the mental stress. I've invested in the future version of myself, and my health, my physical health is improving, and my mental well-being is improving because I trust myself. So how do we get there? These aren't things that we don't know. The people that listen to this podcast, y'all are smart. You get it. You're in self-inquiry, and I bet you still procrastinate. So I really wanted to discover, what is it that successful people who don't procrastinate, what is it that they do differently than you and I? And it starts with this. How do most of us think? Most of us think, the problem with problems is that we think we shouldn't have any. We look at problems and obstacles as like, oh, another one. Oh, why me? Oh, this hard thing. When in fact, the problems and obstacles that we face are the things that cause us to grow into the next version of ourselves, that cause us to gain the skills that unlock new levels of relationship, career opportunities, freedom in our body, mind, and spirit. And yet we still look at problems like they shouldn't be here. We live in this false narrative about life. I deserve to be comfortable. I deserve to be happy. If there's a problem, something is wrong. But problems are part of life. In fact, most problems happen for us. No thorns, no roses. The problems, the obstacles that arise are happening to help to wake us up to things we don't currently see, to reveal blind spots, to help us see where we need to develop skill or where we need to let old versions of ourselves go. And what I noticed in my reading and studying and listening is that really successful people look at problems differently. It's not that they like them, but they fully embrace them as just a normal part of life. And as they create better and better versions of themselves, they just get better problems to solve. But problems are a part of life. And when we resist them, they persist. When we embrace them, we do the work to overcome them and the problem dissolves. So the first mindset shift is to really let go of this idea that we shouldn't have problems, that there's some kind of perfect life, that peace is attainable all the time, that balance is a real thing, because it's not, folks. Balance is like this, stepping out on a slack line every day, every minute, and trying to find that balance in that moment. It's not some state that you achieve overall. So first mindset shift is to start really asking yourself, like, where do I go? Oh God, another problem. And instead go, okay, how will I use this problem to grow to the next level for me? Now, the second thing that successful people have is discipline. Discipline leads to freedom, right? Discipline, the discipline to do things when they don't want to do them. Well, how do they get the discipline? Discipline comes from the same root word as disciple. And to be in discipleship to something means to be devoted to something. So most successful people have a very clear vision of who they're becoming, the identity that they want to claim, what they want to cause in the world, and who they need to be to cause that, what they want to have, what they want to create, what kind of legacy, what kind of communication they need to develop. They have a very clear vision of where they're going, and they're devoted to that vision. It's highly aligned with what they value. Now, when things are not aligned and we have other people's values that we're moving towards, we're more likely to procrastinate because that's our inner wisdom going, yeah, you don't really care about that. And when we are fully committed, fully devoted to, in discipleship of the vision that we have for our future, it's much easier to tap into the discipline required to do the things that bring that forth. So getting clear on a solid vision that's really aligned for you, soul aligned, heart aligned, mind aligned, life aligned, getting really clear about who you want to be in the world. And then we develop the discipline through habits, just doing the things over and over again to bring that forth. But to develop the discipline requires yet another mindset shift. And here's the mindset shift. When we have problems or we have tasks that we need to do, it's going to cost us some energy. There is a cost to doing tasks, right? It's like, if I'm going to buy a chocolate bar, it's $1.50 for the chocolate bar. I don't get the chocolate bar for free. I got to pay for it. So there's energy exchanged in the form of money. When I do a task, it's my physical energy, my mental energy, maybe emotional energy, whatever that is. But there's a cost to that. And so we barter with ourselves and say, oh, I'm not willing to spend that right now. But what successful people do is they calculate the cost of tax and interest that they will have to pay if they don't do the task now. So you see, they are smart in terms of they think, if I don't do this thing, it's like buying it on credit. And I'm going to pay 20% interest in the form of mental stress. I'm going to pay tax on my body, mind, and soul, and in my relationships for not doing this. And therefore, what they do is they make not doing the thing more painful than doing the thing. And I think this is brilliant. David Goggins speaks quite a lot about that concept of picturing this vision that you have for yourself, and you're about to take yourself out of a task that will lead you there. And instead of justifying, rationalizing, and defending why you take yourself out, I couldn't do it, it's so hard, you visualize having to tell your story about why you quit to a person you care about. I was like, whoa. So the pattern of thinking in people that are successful is that they recognize the cost of doing it now is way less than the cost of doing it later. And they become great stewards of their energy so that they can harness it towards that beautiful vision that they have for the future. You find yourself procrastinating. I invite you to think about the cost of that procrastination, how much harder it's going to be. It's not going to be any easier to do the task when you do it. And you will have cost yourself all the worry, all the stress, all the niggling chatter in your mind. In the meantime, not to say maybe trust in your relationships, perhaps confidence in yourself. And I don't think it's worth it. Now, as I was studying all of this stuff, it became very clear to me where I was good at doing the thing and where I wasn't. And I was very quickly able to make the shift in the areas that I wasn't. And I can promise you this is really interesting what happened to me. Within 24 hours, I had a massive burst of energy around the things that I didn't think I wanted to do because I found them hard for me. And suddenly they didn't seem so hard. And the only thing I did was really think about the cost of putting them off. And we've all experienced what that feels like. So I hope that this is helpful for you. And I hope that if this is helpful for you, that you will share the show, that you will tell someone else about it. And until next time, do the thing, folks.